So to celebrate International Women's Day, we want to challenge the stereotype that limit women and girls. We are therefore taking the opportunity to ask Danielle Grant, Director of Leadershape Global, a few questions. The current big theme to International Women's Day this year is hashtag choose to challenge, which brings us directly to the following questions, if you don't mind. What do you think, Danielle, are some of the challenges women all over the world face in the professional field?
I think they face a personal challenge in that they think they have to be better than a man in order to succeed. And certainly my generation were always felt that that was the case, that they had to be better than a man to succeed. And the glass ceiling was very real. And it meant that you kind of had to lead in the way that a man did, which doesn't come across authentic. And that's crucial because people spot a fake. So you had to leave your personality and the whole of yourself in the car park with the mobile phone that in my early career was part of the car. You couldn't take it out with you. It was a car phone rather than a mobile phone. And then move on from there. But that meant that it wasn't real.
Of course, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, in the end, it's always been like a glass ceiling, right? Where you're judging each other from different views. Following that question, how do you think, what would be an important piece of advice to give a young woman that's starting a fresh career? If you look at it from this perspective.
I think today it's a little better. Certainly there is less of a sense that women have to prove themselves to the same degree. But I think there is still a tendency to say, as somebody said to me early in my career, oh, she's a pushy little woman, when a man would have been told he was assertive and praised for it. So the same characteristic shown in a woman would be labeled as something relatively with negative connotations rather than the positive connotations that a man displaying those same characteristics would show. So I think you have to be true to yourself, and you have to believe in yourself. Too many women, and the data that we have shows that women have greater capability naturally in emotional intelligence, which is one of the hallmarks of a good leader. But the one that they're still lagging behind on is self-confidence. Women, for some reason, still lack that sense that they can come up and display themselves with presence and with authority. So it's believe in yourself and maybe write on the mirror in eyebrow pencil, I'm good enough. I'm as good as any man. And then when you see your face framed in the mirror with that label over the top, eventually the message might sink in.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's a big play on confidence then, isn't it? Confidence and honesty.
Yeah.
You say that confidence is treated better and rewarded more than caution? Maybe that these people are more cautious about their choices, therefore, not throwing themselves head first into this.
I think there is something in that, and it's been demonstrated that women fund managers have less volatile funds than men do. So maybe there is an element of greater caution, but that shouldn't stop them being bold. It's they need to kind of push themselves a little bit out of their comfort zone. I'll give you, for instance, there's long-standing data that shows that if a man has 50% of the attributes required for a role, he will apply, whereas a woman feels she needs 80% of the attributes before she'll apply.
That's a massive difference.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's important for women to lift each other up? Do they do it enough in the working field?
That's another very interesting thought, Pontus, because it's my experience that there is unfortunately a number of women that feel that they've clawed their way up the hard way and don't offer a helping hand to other women. I think that's shrinking, and I think it's a smaller percentage. And I believe that over the pandemic period, we've become more aware that we're all interconnected and we have to lift each other up and help one another out. And I hope that that's something that will embed and grow as we come out the other side of the pandemic, rather than women thinking, well, I had to come up the hard way, so do you.
Yeah, it's a common issue, isn't it? It's like the crab bucket effect, if you've heard it, where you put
Mm,
two crabs in a bucket, and of course, one of them is going to try to climb out, but the others are going to try to grapple on, and it
yeah,
just pulls it down again
yeah,
in
for
fear.
sure.
So then, to ask a little bit more of a summarizing question for the International Women's Day, what's the most important message you would like to send out to both young and old women looking at following up on their careers? So what should they do? What would be the career path advice?
I think the overall advice is hold your nose and jump and trust that you will swim.
Yeah,
Um, it may feel daunting, but if you don't jump in and swim, as they say, you've got to be in it to win it. So take your courage in both hands, believe in yourself, and put yourself forward, because whilst nobody wants somebody that's boastful and arrogant, what we do want to see is somebody that has a conviction and an energy around them. And most women can find that, even if it's not always straightforward. And there's the old advice, fake it till you make it. Now, I'm not sure that that is totally convincing, but it is absolutely true that if you smile, you generate the energy that natural smiling would be. So there is something in this. If you go through the motions, and cognitive behavioral psychology tells us this, if you do the thing, and the more you do it, the more you practice it, you're then creating new neural pathways in your brain that lets you do it for real. So just convince yourself, and then practice, and it will become real.
you're creating your own dopamine. That's really
Yep, for sure.
positivity and caution.
Yeah. And that's not stupid positivity or blind positivity, because again, your brain won't accept it if you're just pretending. You have to find the foundations for what's real and build on that.
That's great. And that's actually where I don't have any more questions to follow through on. So thank you for all these questions and taking the time to answer them.
I just hope everyone has a wonderful International Women's Day.